Hi everyone, I am Srijata Bhatnagar, your host for the Setback Leadership Podcast, Season 1. The topic for Season 1 is breaking glass ceilings. And as part of that, I spoke to a very interesting leader today. She has 21 plus years of experience and she is a POSH and diversity lead and also the CEO of Cecure Us. VIji Hari happens to be a leader who has worked with 100 plus clients in all across the globe, handling 200 plus POSH awareness workshops in different organizations and colleges, and also handles 75 POSH cases on her own as an external consultant. She is not only a professional but also is a mother, a biological as well as an adopted mother. So you can imagine what kind of a person she would be. And she loves adventure sports. Today, when we were discussing about breaking glass ceilings and stereotypes, VIji had amazing ideas about why organizations should take breaking glass ceilings and breaking stereotypes seriously. Not only for their leaders to grow, but for the organization's benefit. And she shared the reasons why the organizations need to go after this. She also shared with us how leaders can help themselves break those perceived glass ceilings easily with a snap of a finger with 3 words: hard work, smart work, and network. What does she mean by these things? Let's listen to the entire conversation and know what she means by these and how you can break your glass ceilings and stereotypes. Shall we? I am so excited to have you here, VIji. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Srijata, for having me here. It's my honor, and I look forward for an exciting conversation.
Yes, we should have an exciting and amazing conversation that should have a lot of value for our listeners and viewers. So, I'm going to straight delve into the topic. And first question I have for you, VIji, is what is a glass ceiling according to you?
Lovely. So, as we all know, glass ceiling is an imaginary ceiling made of glass, which is difficult to shatter, and that is related with gender, typically a female gender. That is what has been associated with. And to me personally, it is something that is, yes, present around you. The society offers it, the organization offers it. It is there at all levels, all age groups. But how, as a woman, as an individual, what we aspire, what we want to achieve. I'm sure none of these glass ceilings are can be a barrier or be a showstopper. So it's important that we dream for it, aspire it, and break all glass ceilings.
Perfect. I think you have put it in a nutshell that no matter how big, how strong, how difficult, and how many inches thick that imaginary glass ceiling is, it's important to have that mindset in ourselves as leaders, as women leaders, that we aspire to break it. And break it how? Easily. With choosing to break it. With that, I'm going to ask you the next question. You work with many leaders from across industries, across age groups, and across different specific problems, right? You work on diversity, you work on POSH. So, what has been your personal experience with these stereotypes or these glass ceilings? Can you tell us about your personal experience? And then I'm going to definitely ask you about anybody else that comes in your mind who has to deal with such kind of a challenge.
Right. So I think definitely my personal experience and my journey, there has been barriers at different stages. I think right from the stage that I did my UG, whether to do an PG or not, because at that time a lot of my peers were traveling to US to do their MS. So there was a barrier, and I said, okay, let me not do that. Traveling, because I was the first women in my family to at least complete an engineering degree. And then they said, no, PG is like too much, no, it's enough. That's good enough. Engineering is good enough. Let's start the career. Fine. So I think the next stage is getting married and childbirth. Again, there is again a break there. After childbirth, there comes a stage where there is an elder care. Parents are getting old, and you'll have to spend your time to take care of them. Because when the childbirth happens, the support system is there, the parents, in laws, everyone's support system is there where you're able to still continue to focus on your career. But when they start getting old, that is when a time where you have to start thinking as to what the priorities are. And that was a big eye opening stage for me because by then I had reached a stage where I was a senior project manager with Infosys and I had 13 plus years of work experience and I had explored the world, been to US, traveled in multiple cities in India and had gained a whole lot of experience. And now there was a stage where I had to resign my work and take care of the family because my family kids were young, parents were getting old, in-laws were getting old. But me being me, I had this aspiration that I could not sit at home. 13 long years traveled and worked all the time. So I figured out what is it that I can do from being at home. This was in sometime in 2013, and that is when the POSH Act also had come in. I had so much passion around that. I gained some experience with Infosys as well on that, and that was something that I said that hey, why don't I do something on this? So I said there is so much that I can still do from being at home. Right, I can still manage, and let me work. Maybe I'm not able to work for 8 9 hours, but 4 5 hours. Let me start off with that. I think that will be a good thing where I can maintain my sanity and also see how I can contribute. And my journey was eye opening, and that is when my entrepreneurial bug started. And it is so fulfilling where being at home, from home, is not just that I am earning or learning stuff and aspiring, but I was also able to provide opportunities and employment for women like me, where I grew a team of 15 member and women working remotely, women like me who had taken a career break. And that is such a fulfilling experience. And all the while solving problems for the corporates as well and supporting other women and especially in sexual harassment where women are the majority of the victim and then slowly diversified into doing gender diversity and moving on to other diversity areas as well. So that has been my journey. I think whatever barriers that come in, it is all on how we balance and how we look forward and shatter those glass ceilings and take it forward. And all our aspiration that matters.
I couldn't agree with you more. And the more I was listening to you while you were sharing your story, you reminded me of my own story as well. 2013 was the same year when I started my first entrepreneurial venture. And why did I start it? The reason behind it, first of all, was I was working at a very big MNC at a posh and a cushy job. I was earning huge amount of salary. I was super satisfied with my job. I enjoyed what I did, everything. But it took me just one demotion, and that's for no reason. I mean, later, if I could think about it, it was because I had a childbirth 6 months before and I hadn't contributed for 3 4 months in between. So my 5 years of work was negated just because I did not contribute for those 4 5 months. And I was demoted by none other than another woman boss. So what did I do? I chose to voice against it. I said, nothing doing, no matter how good this organization is, no matter what the salary is, no matter how satisfied I am with the job, this is a decision that I cannot live with. I will not tolerate a blame or a decision that has nothing to do with my own caliber, my own capabilities, and what I have contributed in this organization. So I quit that organization. Of course, I tried many other jobs in between before I actually took a dig at entrepreneurship and decided that that was my passion. And today I'm sitting here being an entrepreneur, being a speaker, and being an author. Today, when I look back, if that bad decision, if that demotion hadn't happened to me, probably I wouldn't be here where I am. So it is all about choices, and it is all about how you take it forward in your life. And I've had the similar experience as you. You know, I was the first woman to go out of my house where, from a small little town in West Bengal to the metro city, Calcutta, and study, and then move to Chennai to study and go on and on and on with my career. And I had the same perspective as you, Viji, that I wouldn't like to stay at home. I will completely go mad if I'm sitting at home and doing only house related work. I need to have my professional space sorted. So that was where I also started my career defining journey and started taking right choices in terms of making sure that yes, my professional and personal life are balanced. So, women out there, this is a learning here. It's up to you to decide what's important to you and how you're going to balance it. Of course, we will share a few ideas on how can you seek support from in and around you to make it more comfortable for you, but the ultimate choice is going to be yours. So keep that in mind. So at this point in time, Viji, I want to ask you another question. Now, as I said, you work with so many leaders across industries. Have you ever experienced leaders going through such kind of stereotypes or glass ceilings that they're finding it difficult, and you've helped them go past these, maneuver through this? Do you remember any specific incident like that?
So it's not just, see, I don't do one-on-one coaching, but I typically work with a group of people. So I think there are a lot of challenges, and I work with both the gender as well. So in terms of one is I do a lot of aspirational workshop for women, as well as while doing the gender diversity, where I talk to a lot of leaders and managers in sensitizing why it's important to have women in your workforce. So that is the perspective. So from that angle, see, one is even from the leader's perspective, a lot of CEOs have come up to me and told me that I'm a startup company and I can't afford that 6 months maternity leave. So I don't want to hire women who are recently married. And I need young women because all coding and everything, only young women can do that. So I don't want to hire women. So that is one of the mindset from the leaders itself, right? So which is a showstopper there from the entry point. Women cannot even enter. Yes, especially women just recently married. The stereotype that comes in, and it is the right for a woman to maternity leave is her right. 6 months of maternity leave is what the government has given. So I think if all women do not get the opportunity, so one advice from my side to the leaders would be is that hey, women are talented folks. When you see the 10th grade, 12th grade results that come out, there's equal percentage of women and the girl and the boy ratio that is there. But who tops the scores? It's always majority of the time it's the women that top the state level or the central board level. It is the women that are topping the thing, and that is a talented pool. And slowly, the moment they pass out of college, the percentage of women coming and joining the workforce is less. So, do you want to miss out on engaging with that 50% of talented crowd? Wouldn't you want that knowledgeable crowd in your workforce? Wouldn't you want the best among things? Why do you want to miss out that thing? So that is something that uh, uh, is a very strong lesson. And there was another CEO who had a contrasting opinion. He said 60% of my workforce is women. So I was like, wow, this is something different. Why would you go for that? So his answer was that hey, we are an organization which is like 20 years old, and from our experience, what we realized is yes, women do go for that maternity break, but once they come back, they look for stability. They have been much more loyal as compared to the male counterparts. So the loyalty is really helping us. The knowledge, we are able to retain the knowledge. And for us in our business, the product knowledge is something that's very, very important. And we have been having long-term clients, and women has helped us in our diversity and in our productivity as well. So these are some contrasting opinion. I think it is very, very important that I think as leaders, they should understand why hiring and tapping on the right talent and right knowledge something definitely is going to help in the long run. And from the leader's perspective, I mean, as women, individuals who are experiencing this, I think there are a lot of other tips that we have to overcome these things, and probably we will discuss that over our conversation. I'll probably share more examples around that.
Sure. In fact, while you're talking about this, I remember one conversation that I was having with a leader. He happens to be a product head in a large MNC company, and the company has a mandate that they have to hire 30% women in every team. Now, look at this. Now, this guy was having a conversation with me. This leader was having a conversation with me and said, Srijata, see, I want to hire women. I want to have more women in the workforce. I genuinely want to do that. But you know what? Whenever I am sharing a job opportunity, 80% of the time I'm only receiving male resumes. 20% of the time I'm receiving women resumes. They are not as good as the male resumes. So women are not applying for the job that they are given. What's your thought in this regard? There's a dilemma. This guy wants to hire more women, but he's not receiving the kind of talent pool. So he's torn between, shall I hire the male resumes that is coming on my way easily, or I look more deeper, find more female resumes, women resumes, and hire more women to balance the ratio in my team. What do I do in this situation? What would be your suggestion to that?
So yes, so I think there are a lot of inclusive hiring practices that are there that we advocate to people in terms of right at see how do you word your JD job description, right? So that from there it starts, right? So when you're going to use words something like strong, willing to work late hours, willing to stretch, or willing to travel. See, I think all these are a put off. I think you're right from the way you've worded your JD that goes out in the job market. I think that is something you have to start re-looking at. That there are a lot of tools which actually corrects and captures those words, masculine words and feminine words that are used in the job description. That is one step. The next step, the where do you source your profiles from? So give clear instruction to your recruiter stating that he only when you have equal ratio, please send it to me. Otherwise, do not even send me the profiles. I think these are some of the aspects, and also there are a lot of organizations that do drive specifically to rehire women who have taken career breaks, or there are organizations like Avatar, which actually provides only female profiles. So I think these are all areas where you have to start looking at, and then at that level, you start filtering only when you have received equal percentage. I think these are some proven statistics which organization, progressive companies have started following these strategies. And once you've received, how do you filter them? There are a lot of blind interviews that I have to be done. I think there are multiple things that I can keep on sharing. So there are multiple steps and processes. So I think yes, it's important to achieve that goal of 30% where you need to increase your ratio, but it cannot happen overnight. That's something that we should understand. It should be a long-term, 3-year, 5-year goal. Make slow progress and consciously look at where we are. We can make the change and what is it that we can do. So have that. I think overall changing that mindset, and it should not be a forced decision where we say that hey no, just because I have the target and let me only look at hiring. No, that should not be the thing. At the end of it, the organization should get the right talent, irrespective of the gender. That should be the thing, and do not discriminate. And who is the one who's doing the interviews? Are your managers trained in overcoming bias, the unconscious bias? Because majority of the time, questions like, "Are you married? How many children do you have?" These are the questions that only get asked to women and not to a male. And managers, they have their own arguments. But are these questions even relevant? Very personal questions. In progressive countries, ban these questions. I think that is the sensitization that organizations should be doing at the hiring level to make it very, very inclusive. I think slowly and steadily, then the goals can be definitely achieved.
Yes, I mean that is something really really interesting, and I'm sure I'm going to show this to the leader who I had this conversation with. Maybe he'll find some ways to do it. One more thing that I have realized and that I see happening is the words in itself. You were talking about masculine words, right? I was reading a book called Invisible Women some time back to understand the unconscious bias towards women in every industry, in every sphere of life across all generations, all age groups, and so on and so forth. So there, one place the author was talking about that a word. So, for example, a simple word like strong. Okay, when you define this, say this word strong to define a male leader, it comes across as a soothing word, a word where it talks about power. Whereas the same word, when a woman puts it in their resume saying, I'm a strong leader, it comes across as arrogant. So the perceiving value of a particular word when you are writing your resume is actually different for both the genders. How cool or how interesting is that? So therefore all of us are having such kind of biases in our heads, and it is important that we start slowly working on those biases consciously, right? So let me move on to the interview with the next question is around, see, you work with a lot of organizations on POSH and gender and other diversity areas, and you train them on being more mindful about whenever they're hiring, whenever they're treating the diverse population in their workforce. So what has been your approach or your take? How do you make sure that organizations actually deal with these stereotypes and glass ceilings well, and make sure that the leaders have a free flowing growth?
So one is definitely the concept of diversity and inclusion, a very niche topic, slowly seeping in India. I think it has been a concept that is there in the Western world, and with a lot of multinational companies coming in here, I think slowly coming in, and now a lot of organizations, they are focusing on this because there's a mandate from their headquarters, from their global office. So hence the focus started here. But slowly, there are some organizations, we are realizing that, hey, if I don't catch up on this bandwagon of having a more inclusive workforce, I'm going to miss out from the competition, right? Because the competitors are doing that. So let me also get on to that. I think so. This is something that one is organization should clearly understand as to, hey, what is my focus? Is it, am I really believing in what I'm doing in, and or am I just setting the targets and goals just because I've got something from my head office, or is it just because my competitors are doing it? But they should understand from the spirit of it, how is it going to help us? So once I think that focus is very clear, and definitely the drive should flow top down, and understand what the gaps are. First, do a gap analysis as to what is it that's missing in your organization. How is the current culture? Start from there. Maybe a survey or a mid-stick measure, or just having focus group discussion will also give you those ideas. And then once you've identified that, then start from there in setting out what are your goals. A lot of manufacturing companies, they focus on maybe I think gender ratio is something that we have to start off with. There's some organizations that focus even on cultural aspects in terms of hiring people from diverse tier one, tier two cities, or be it from religious backgrounds, or from different regions as well. So that is the regional and the cultural aspect that some organizations focus on. There are other mature organizations where they start focusing on having people with disabilities, or people with different sexual orientation. I think those are again more mature organizations go to that stage where they want to bring about the change and maximize their benefit from having a diverse workforce. So I think these are some of the steps that organization can definitely start, but understand where do you want to touch upon, how can you eliminate the bias. I think constant having open discussions, constant sensitization, not just something that, okay, we have done one unconscious bias training to the entire organization, check, done, I think we're going to have a great culture. That does not happen. That's not how it works. It has to be a repeated. See, these biases are something that has been ingrained right from the time of our growing days, right from the childhood, the way people our society has been, the way our relatives are, their friends, family. So it's not possible to overcome these biases overnight. So it has to be a constant discussion, constant conversation, constant drive from the management to change the mindset. And I think that is what is important. That organization should understand that and take that forward.
Neat. Now, you already answered the question that I was about to ask you after this. Now, so I'm going to deep delve into this itself. You're talking about this has to be a top-down approach, right? The top management needs to believe, needs to decide that yes, we want to get rid of these stereotypes, we want to get rid of these glass ceilings, and we want to make sure that every leader in my organization gets equal opportunity for growth and success without having to go through unnecessarily, imaginary boundaries, right? Now, let me ask you this question. What has been your experience when you talk to these top management, right? What has been your experience when you say speak to a CEO or somebody else? Are they genuinely willing to make a change, or are they doing it just for because it is a mandate that has come from the, say a US head office or some other head office, or it is because the government wants this to be done? Is it a forced thing, or is it a genuine interest to make it more diverse, make it more free of glass ceilings and stereotypes in the organization? Is it a genuine need, or is it something that is happening forcefully where they're doing it just for the sake of doing it? What's your thoughts?
See, there are multiple things. I think there are both sides to it. I think there are some people who want to try out saying that, hey, uh, everyone is talking about it, so why don't we do this, right? But then again, the pandemic, the budget constraint, because this is not a must to do, or at least in India, there are no laws that say that, yes, unlike POSH, where training is mandated, unlike that, breaking a glass ceiling or hiring women, the percentage is not defined yet here. So I think that is not a mandated thing. So it's only a nice to do. So budget constraints, pandemic, of course, has put this as a back burner. So there are other organizations where they have realized the benefits, right? And they know that, hey, my competition is getting way ahead. Like, for example, Ashok Leyland has seen a huge benefit by having bringing in women workforce into their factory. It drives a healthy competition. They've seen that benefit. Closed Pumps, Britannia Cheese Factory. They've seen that women-only factories are their productivity ratios are much better as compared to male-only thing. So it creates a healthy competition. They've realized the benefits of it, and hence they are driving it. They've realized that, hey, women can achieve a lot more as well. So they are contributing to the organization, and we see the benefit, and then they are driving it. They're going all out and doing this. So I think it is, as an organization, you should understand what the benefits. I think once organizations have seen the benefit of it, then we have their full commitment into it. So I think that is what I think a lot of them they see that it's not just having women alone. A simple example, a beautiful example that a CEO friend of mine shared. He's a book publisher, and he was releasing an app for his organization, and just before releasing the app for the authors, one of the women testers and the developers came out and said that the age group does not capture young authors who are not yet adults. It says only 18 and above. But I have a son who is 11-year-old and is a potential author. So will he not be able to use this app? And that was an eye-opening thing, and that was just before the release. And they had young authors as their customers. They were missing out on that target group completely. And this was a woman who identified it because she had a son and she was able to think of it from that angle, right? So they see the value and the benefit. I think that is what, when organizations realize the value that they get, the perspective, the ideas that the diverse group brings in. Once you realize that, then it's easy for you to take it forward and go ahead and help the employees break the glass ceiling.
Neat. That is amazing. I mean, once you see the value, you realize that what can be done in this space. And Why should you really help your leaders to break those glass ceilings? So, from an organization point of view, we are pretty much having the answers. But what do you think today's leaders should do to help them break the glass ceilings that are being built around them, or the stereotypes that are being built around them? What would be your tips to such leaders? You are a biggest leader that I have seen, and you've had you're doing it all, you're having it all, you're choosing it all, right? And in that sense, what would be uh, your opinion or your suggestion to these leaders who are probably going through a dilemma right now? Can I choose this or can I choose that? Can I do this or can I do that? What would be your suggestion to them?
You're specifically asking for women leaders.
I'm asking for leaders who are going through stereotypes and challenges. They could be women leaders, they could be diverse leaders, they could be, sexually diverse leaders, and so on and so forth. Anybody and everybody who's going through a stereotype or challenges at this point in time.
Yeah, so I think one is it depends on the organization. I think if there are cases where even in my own career, I have faced some bias from my superiors where it has hindered my growth. So there is nothing much that you can do. All that you can do is you can look for. I think in your case, what you said was, "Hey, I'm not going to take it. Let me move out and do something. Take the failures as a stepping stone to success." So that is something where you took a drastic step. But is it possible for you to change the organization? Not really. So there are certain things. Understand what is under your control and what is outside your control. So let's focus on understanding that line of control and ensure that you have a strong your skill set. What is it? Can I polish my skill sets further? Can I increase my network? Okay. So there is a beautiful concept that they say that if you want a promotion or something, you have to network, right? Put in a word with your mentors and seek their support as well. So, whereas it's not just that you're performing and you're showcasing your skill set, there's also other mentors who are going to be promoters for you. So, I think leverage that network. I think that is very, very important for you. I think networking also very, very, a lot of times we miss out on networking and leveraging on that network. So that is something very cool. One is to what my tips would be to polish your skill set, to enhance it, to ensure that you are at par with what is required. Always the focus should be is what are the skill set that I need to achieve my aspirations, to achieve my goal, and leverage on your network. I think that's something that's very, very important. At least that I have seen has helped me personally and helped other leaders that I've interacted with personally.
Super. I think that's a brilliant thing for leaders, that you hone your skill first, then use your network. I feel women suck at networking. This has been my opinion. We become competitive when we are networking with each other, whereas if you see male leaders, they are not being competitive. There is a bro thingy going on when they are networking, and they're ready to help each other, they're ready to cover up for each other. Whereas when we are doing networking, many a times I have faced this when I was there in my early entrepreneurship career, that one woman comes and starts backstabbing you or starts trampling over you when you are networking with them. Now I have a better circle. I have a wolf pack where I have women like you, Viji, who are ready to support each other. I think that's a very, very important lesson here, that network right. Network not for the reason that you want to be better than others, but how can you nurture each other and how can you grow your skills with each other? So go ahead, leaders, do that and make sure that you grow by breaking, by shattering those glass ceilings without any difficulty. With this, we come at the end of the interview, and I must thank Viji for bringing out such crazy ideas for, at least for organizations to do things not because they have to do it, but because it is useful for them. So, Vijay, thank you for joining us in this episode and sharing all your thoughts. Do you have any last parting thoughts that you would like to give?
Yes. So I think just to quickly summarize, I think for organizations, very important for them to create support group, employee resource group, or a support system. I think that mentor mentee. or the buddy systems. I think that's very, very important. See, and not just women buddy or women network mentoring. Mentors can be there across all levels. I think it's just we have to leverage, because there are leaders at all levels. If you're at the entry level, there's someone who's crossed that level, they've gone through that, and these mentors play a very, very crucial role in helping you, right? And it is a win-win for both, because as a mentor perspective, while they are mentoring, they are also going to be learning. So I think one is having this buddy system, and mentor-mentee is something that definitely helped a lot of women break their glass ceilings, and to aspire and achieve their aspirations. That is one. And sensitizing across leadership board as to how can you overcome those unconscious bias, subtle things, like even the kind of networking, create networking groups, but ensure that everyone is welcome in that networking groups. Typically, in a lot of organizations, a Friday night party or a pub outing, typically only the male people gang up and go. And that is where a lot of decisions get made, right? Though you're having fun, but a lot of discussion and decision management, decision gossips, and all those things get made there. And women tend out to be missing out over there. So I think these are some of the things that organizations should again be conscious. Leaders, specifically, they have to be very, very conscious and sensitizing at all levels as to focusing in terms of, hey, are we excluding any particular group, any particular sect? So that's something that focus on those things. These are small things that organization can help, and definitely have goals on what is it that you want to achieve, where is it that you want to do. Are you looking at gender, bridging the gender gap, or pay parity is still a long term goal, but I think it would be nice at least consciously we are looking at it, right? So these three things I definitely would want organization to focus on: create a mentor-mentee buddy systems, focusing on the goals that you have, sensitizing managers, leaders, and all levels on overcoming bias and stereotypes. So that is something, three tips for the organization. And as individuals, if you are aspiring something, I think one is you have your goal, dream for a dream big, and three tips that always help me is: one is hard work, smart work, and network. I think that is something that I would want to leave away with all individuals. Definitely, it is a competitive world out there, so hard work is something very important, and smart work. Look at delegating stuff that is not your niche, delegate that off, and do the right things at the right time, and network. So, networking, as you said, have a wolf pack, have your tribe that will drive you, and the people that are like-minded who want to aspire have that kind of right network. Something that's definitely going to help.
Perfect. That was a great end of the session, I would say. Hard work, smart work, network. Leaders, are you listening? Are you following? With this, we come to the end of today's episode, and I have to thank VIji for her amazing time, for giving me a lot of time and her insights, and giving us those three strong words: hard work, smart work, network. Thank you, VIji, for joining us, and you have a lovely, lovely day ahead. And stay connected, do the great job, and be the best leader in the industry. Thank you so much, VIji.
Thank you, Srijata. I think time just flew. I enjoyed thoroughly. I hope the leaders are able to take away something, and happy to support in any of their initiatives to help break or shatter the glass ceilings.
Yes, we hope that too. Thank you so much. Phew! What a great conversation that we had. And we discussed many situations and many things that organizations are doing to break those glass ceilings. She shared some cool ideas how organizations can help their employees break their glass ceilings and stereotypes. And why should they do it? What's in it for the organizations? The three things that kept in my mind was One, when you are helping your employees break those glass ceilings, you are actually helping the organization productivity. She spoke about Ashok Leyland being one of the companies who benefited from actually breaking the glass ceilings for their leaders and nurturing more diversity in their teams. She also talked about how leaders can make hiring more aware and more conscious decision so that there is a diversity that gets done in the organizations. And she also spoke about how leaders themselves can make sure that they are able to break their own glass ceiling by easily making sure that they have a huge dream about their own career and professional growth. They're able to do smart work by delegating things that don't require them as personally present. And three, how they can network right and create their tribe and wolf pack to make sure that they are able to break their glass ceilings. How did you like today's conversation? What did you learn in today's conversation? And what is that one thing that you're going to implement in your organization, in your career, and in your life? Tell us in the comments and feel free to subscribe to the channel so that you get to know the next time there's an episode coming out. I will see you soon. Signing off, Srijata Bhatnagar.